The scene of the island is shown as the film starts. It was the time of World War II. 2 aircrafts are crashed on that islet. 2 fighter aviators appear from there. They were safe and sound. They fight with each other then. Meantime, they move to a timber. One of them is going to kill a mysterious giant critter named Kong comes on the scene. They're veritably alarmed seeing him, and the position changes, and once time is shown from numerous times ago. Then geophysicist Platoon appears, which comported of a character, Bill with his companion. Bill had searched an islet after a great exploration. Some finances were needed to visit there. He'd visited Statesman's house for this purpose. He was talking about that islet, which has been shown at the launch of the movie. According to him, islet is ancient, where colorful antique brutes inhabit there. But the world still has no knowledge about them. Why not? We should search them. Statesman doesn't take interest in this exploration, and he declines him to allocate finances. But Bill pleads him, saying, the entire world, including Russia, wants to discover this islet. We should move there before making their move. Knowing it, Statesman allows his visit there and allocates finances. He couldn't go alone for hunt, so he builds a platoon and holds the responsibility as in charge. And he also takes the duties of army unit, including a major. He'd also recruits a captain named James. There was also a girl shooter named Mason to capture the scenes. Also, a meeting is held among them in which a position is decided to meet if they lose the way. The following day, they moved to the ocean because they had to take a copter from there. Reaching ocean on the coming day, they come to know that the way through which they've to fly in copter to the islet isn't out of peril right now because the worst storm had broken out there. Ignoring it, Bill takes a flight, conforming his army unit into 6 or 7 copters. The storm begins to worsen while flying that way. There wasn't a shaft of stopgap for their copter's safety. Anyhow, they come out from there. At last, they reach that islet. One of the geophysicists says it's relatively possible that similar giant brutes may live underground, so they explode the resistance. Conversely, there's created a commotion on the islet. Numerous creatures begin to run, and the objects start striking with the copters. Also, a giant ham named Kong appears. He attacks them as being furious. Major commands his dog faces to target it while firing. It agitates as they fire their ordnance on it. He starts to attack them and their copter. Due to this, numerous dog faces are killed. Now they make 2 brigades. One platoon included Bill and army dog faces, while other platoon included Mason, Bill, and the rest of the survivors. Major points his gun on Bill after losing his numerous dog faces and says, "Why have you brought us then?" Bill replies, "This earth didn't belong to us. Creatures used to inhabit then, including similar brutes, which are beyond our knowledge." Also, he tells that, "Formerly I was sailing boat in the ocean, that a giant critter assaulted our boat and all people ended except me. No bone believed my words when I revealed the whole story after returning. Also, I decided that I myself will probe. I've come then after 30 times of exploration, so I may expose before the world that similar brutes have actuality." He says these brutes will soon capture the mortal beings, so we should keep hold over them while chancing. Now one of their dog faces was missing, so Major moves to the timber in his hunt. While walking, a bamboo is thrust into one of the dog face's mouth, and he's dead, pathetically. Casting their eyes overhead, a spider has woven its web in the bamboo. That was the monstrous spider. It begins to attack the rest of the dog faces. Also, Major shoots it. This timber was stuffed with the mysterious brutes. On the contrary side, a missing dog face is shown. Standing near a sluice, he sees giant ham, Kong. He observes an octopus has attacked Kong from the water. Conversely, Kong has started to eat it after killing that octopus. That dog face who's there becomes fearful, seeing it. Also, James' platoon is shown moving at a place. They encounter a giant critter buffalo before them. They cool their heels for a time whether it attacks them, but that buffalo moves still from there. Now they move ahead. Also, they encounter some wild natives. There was also a man among them who could speak English. Actually, he was the same missing dog face between both who had been shown numerous times ago in the movie. He guides them to a ethnical community and explains, "Both of us dog faces were captured then numerous times agone, and we had been living then from that time. A many times agone, other dog face was killed by a critter, Skullcrawler. This mysterious critter inhabits underground. It's the worst adversary of Kong." He tells, "They've been living underground for a long time. They've come on the face because of the explosion of that lemon which you exploded." He informs, "Kong actually protects us. Who will deliver us if they harm Kong?" James's platoon had a short time to reach that position. That old dog face suggests that it's in vain to go on bottom. I hand over a boat to you. Also, they begin to repair it. Mason observes, a buffalo is burdened with the dropped copter. She tries to help her while removing it, but of no use. Also, Kong appears who rescues Buffalo's life, picking copter up fluently. Mason is spooked, encountering Kong. Also, she thinks, how can one be cruel with anyone who has soft corner for creatures? On the other side, a missing dog face is shown. He's sitting at a place. Latterly, he feels that it isn't a tree, but a critter. He begins to fire his gun as that critter stands up. But it reveals that critter starts fleeing because of a thing. It was Skullcrawler, not anyone differently from which it was fleeing in fear. That Skullcrawler kills that dog face, advancing itself. Now, Army unit was ready to go ahead and James's boat was also made. They leave saying farewell to the lineage. All were agitated, thinking they're leaving Islet. Meantime, strange, rapacious catcalls appear and take a man among them, lifting him. James is firing his gun on them. At first sight, those catcalls tear up that man. They cannot save him. Also, they board the boat again. Also, it's shown that Major's platoon and James's platoon face each other at a place. Now Major was getting upset about his missing dog face, who was his exceptional bone. He says, we will have to move to the direction of west. But old Dogface tells them, it isn't unscathed to go there. It'll end us. But Major orders James to come with him while ignoring the suggestion of everyone. Now they move to a position where numerous configurations and bones had turned into reactionary energy after deterioration. A man falls down a cigarette as he smokes. As a result, the place is burst into deers with a great explosion, and skullcrawlers are awakened who are in surroundings. Now these brutes were attaching them while they were shooting them. A critter ejects a cranium from its mouth, and that cranium had the charm of that dog face. Also, James knows that he's no more, but they couldn't escape from there, because they were girdled by skull crawlers. There was also gas explosion, and they were chancing difficulty to end them. They kill them, shooting their fire gun. Now James tells Major while showing a charm, your dog face isn't alive. But Major loses his temper and says, I'll not let Kong survive now. All reveal to him, Kong is impeccable indeed. He's just guarding. Skullcrawlers will kill us if we harm Kong. Being stubborn, Major repudiates their advice. James says to him, you may go now to that place while I'll stay for you with my platoon, going near the boat. They're again separated in 2 brigades. Now it's shown that James and Mason are sitting at the peak of mountain at night. They encounter a standing Kong in front of them. Being frightful, Mason spreads her hand and starts loving Kong. It doesn't harm them. Mason feels affable, allowing its really companionable critter. On the other side, it's seen that Major and his dog faces have fixed numerous losers at the bank of the sluice. Kong reaches there as snares are exploded. It begins to attack those dog faces because they were damaging the place. Facing the blazing, it also loses its senses because of burning with fire. Then Major commands his dog faces to explode further losers, but James explains him coming there, we're all safe because of Kong. How should I explain to you that Kong isn't our opponent? But Major remains dissented, saying, this Earth is our, so we will be superior, not this critter. But he's going to keep his ordnance down after hearing James, also a mammoth. Skullcrawler appears there. It begins to attack them, but Kong wakes up at that time. Also, Major commands to blow up the losers. But Kong moves to Skullcrawler while crushing it. There's great fight between them while rest of them move to the boat. This fight continues till morning. Conversely, dog faces were firing their ordnance on Skullcrawler, and it starts moving towards it, leaving Kong. Now Kong had dropped down into water and caught in rods. Offering his life, one of the dog faces sets all losers with his body. He stands before Skullcrawler, thinking it may eat it and the lemon blow up in its stomach, and it may die. But that critter was also so sharp-witted. It pushes him strongly and he strikes with the gemstone of mountain, which results the explosion. Now it advances towards others to kill them. Incontinently, Kong drags him while waking up. Climbing up the mountain, Mason fires her gun to signal to the copters as they're then, but she falls into a sluice. Now Kong is shown, which was fighting with that critter with full strength and energy. At last, it kills that critter forever, beating and pulling its lingo. Bringing out Mason from sluice, it leaves her to the mortal beings. Now they were connected, so return to their country, getting together. And the company hires Mason and James, which had the end to keep the new critter under their control. And the old dog face who was missing on that islet, coming there 30 times agoon. He'd returned back, and he meets with his son and woman. He's amped, and the movie also completes along with it.